Hey YouTube, this video I have another DIY. I'm gonna replace the starter on my 997.1 turbo. It is a manual transmission, so if yours is a tip automatic, it might be slightly different. And again, it's a turbo, so it's probably the location of the starter is right above the transmission on the passenger side. It's going to be a hot day outside, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. The starter does work, but it is a little bit, can be a little bit sluggish, and every few start I have to do it twice sometimes, where it would crank a couple times and stop. I don't know, not 100% sure it's a starter, but it could, but I'm going to go ahead and replace it. I did check a few things already, like the battery post, which is a flimsy design, I think. And then also some common issue with these cars, not so much on the turbo, I think, but it's like the battery wiring harness, the alternator to the starter, from what I read, and also the ground strap to the car. Anyway, thanks. So I'm gonna start by lifting up the car, disconnect the battery, take off. There's an under tray that I gotta remove. So I got this starter from Rock Auto. I think they had the best prices. I paid only I think around $250, about probably a third or less than the Porsche brand, and it should be the same item. It's I believe Porsche's the OEM, and it just doesn't, you just don't get the box or the part number stamped on it. And there's the part number. There's part number, Bosch SR0451N. Okay, I had a hard time setting up my quick jack. I haven't used it in a while. I couldn't get these cable plugged into this hydraulic pump. So it turns out I just had to release it by pressing down. Make sure it's locked, and make sure both sides are locked. So like I mentioned, I'm going to remove the under panel cover. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery, the negative post. Make sure when you disconnect the battery not to close your whatever you call that, front. So it's already getting pretty warm, so I'm standing in front of this portable AC to cool me down in between. Okay, the other thing that's worth checking is that that terminal you see there at the firewall. So you disconnect the battery. There's a red plastic that slides out, and that post just slides out. And check for corrosion and clean it if needed. So that's an easy fix if that's which I already did. It helped, but still it didn't solve my problem. So yeah, there's the starter. You can see it there. There's the solenoid. So looks like the top bolt's gonna require some special extension. So there's this plastic cover you see here. So just sliding it back here, just get it over. So as you can see, the battery cover, plastic cover removed. There's the positive terminal. Probably a good time to test voltage with a multimeter as you crank it, see if, what the voltage drop is. So next I'm gonna remove the two terminal to the starter solenoid, just a couple bolts there. Okay, so next I'm gonna remove the other terminal, I guess, for the solenoid. just a 10mm bolt. Okay, I got the 2 wires, battery terminal removed. Now I just got to remove the 2 bolts that hold the starter, I think. So there's that one on the bottom with the red line, and then there should be one on top, and then it looks like it's going to be tight to try to slide it off. We'll see. May have to lower the engine an inch or two, maybe. We'll see. So the top bolt is, you got to do it by feel, and it's kind of blind, so I have this extension that you see there, and but it should be doable. I already kind of tested it. So the top bolt, as expected, was a little bit of a challenge, but this extension that you see here, make sure you, and then just doing it by feel, like that, make sure it's in place, and then get your socket in place. It was also a little tight, so I kind of struggled a little bit. There's also a bolt right next to it, which is the transmission mount. So and so make sure you don't try to loosen that one. And that one has a stud coming out, so you could tell the difference by feel. I got both of the bolts off. Now let's see how to wiggle it off. So I'm just sliding it back. There it goes. Looks like it's gonna be really tight. I don't know. Okay, careful not to drop it into your face. It looks like it will just slide out here, and just gotta get this solenoid's getting caught. Let's see. There's the solenoid, and I'm gonna try to squeeze it through there. I'm gonna put the camera down while I finagle this thing, but it looks like it's gonna come out. So I'm gonna put the camera down and try to slide it all the way out. All right, there we go. The 2 bolts started. I'm gonna tighten it 34 foot-pound or doing it by feel. There we go. Okay, it's gonna be tight. Barely enough room for this torque wrench. Okay. There you go. There you go. Just gonna clean these terminal with super fine 3500 grit sandpaper and clean off the surface slightly. Okay, so I got one of the terminal replaced and tightened. It should only be 5 foot-pound, and it's really tight with a torque wrench. You're going to need at least a 1/4 inch torque wrench. So just don't over tighten it. I just did it by feel instead of using a bulky torque wrench because I might over tighten it.
This bolt is 13 foot-pound. Again, don't over tighten it, and it's probably gonna be difficult to get a torque wrench in there. So I kind of just did it by feel. And again, should be tight, but no, don't over tighten it. Okay, I got the cover back. Make sure you slide it all the way in, so it's flush with the starter, as you see there. Now I just got to put the cover, 4 screws, and excited to give it a test and start it. Fail. Try it again. Fail. Try it again. So as you could hear, the new starter is so much faster. I didn't change anything else. And again, I checked the usual, the battery, that terminal at the firewall, and all and so forth, and before deciding to change the starter. And so overall, I'm very happy. Jay was right. I actually should have changed the starter when I upgraded the clutch. Should have had them do it at the same time, but I was being cheap. But so anyway, I'm glad I'm able to do it and got this part at a real good price, like I mentioned, and only cost me $250 or so. So that's actually a bargain for Porsche parts OEM. Okay, so it's all done. So it's actually overall not too bad. Of course, just a challenge on that top bolt. You're doing it by feel. So it took me about 3 hours, taking my time, and an hour or so spent trying to remove that top bolt. Just took a while to figure out how to best position my wrench and get enough leverage, because it was tight, because I couldn't really get a good leverage on it. But anyway, please like and subscribe. Thanks.